I have slides to keep me on track. So now that we've discussed and actually decided that we're doing way too much, we're going to talk about productivity. Yay. Quick exercise to start. Pull out your phones, not a joke, um, and look at your calendars. Please don't get distracted by texts, emails, Instagram, just your calendar. Pull up last week. If I knew absolutely nothing about you except what's on your calendar for last week, could I accurately guess what mattered to you? Yeah. All right. Your calendar never lies. It tells a story, it's a reflection of your priority. It holds a lot of truths. It holds truths about your priorities, about who has access to you, where your attention goes, and ultimately, the life you're building. The problem is that most people don't even know the story or the life that you're building with it, or the story that you're trying to tell. We're taught that productivity is more meetings, packed calendar, bunch of emails, more responsibilities, more projects, more notifications, hustle, 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 more everything, right? We wear busy like a medal, like it's a badge of honor. How many of you were asked, "How are you?" And somehow the correct answer became busy, right? As if it proves that you're important. Maybe the very thing we're chasing, productivity, is the thing that keeps us from growing. And that, my friends, is the productivity paradox. I came to this country not speaking any English as a teenager. Some of you know me for a very long time here in the room. I confused a lot of very embarrassing words. That's a story for a different day. And I grew up in an immigrant community, surrounded by a lot of people that I admired. They showed resilience, determination, support. They sacrificed a lot to make sure that their children have the opportunities that they did not have before. My mom is sitting at that table over there. Mom, raise your hand. Thank you. Thank you for the sacrifices. When I was in junior year of high school, we moved to Long Island. We were fortunate enough, my parents were fortunate enough to buy a house. We moved to Long Island. As I was getting to know my high school classmates, they kept saying things like, my mom is a partner at a law firm. My dad is a CFO. My aunt is a VP of engineering. And I remember thinking, holy shit, these are real roles? Like, these are real jobs? Because the only time or the only way I was able to or saw those titles were in movies. So when people were kids my age were saying that their parents are doing these things, it completely changed my belief in what is possible. Although the community we grew up in was incredible, their range of possibility was so small. And you can't build a life that you can't imagine first. So it's not that I became smarter. It's not that we became wealthier. It's just that we had a bigger range of opportunity. I saw things that I did not think were possible before. How many of you can think of one person here in this room, mentor, teacher, friend, family member, that completely changed the way you believe what is possible for you in your life? Look around. Almost every hand is raised. That's because exposure expands possibility, and possibilities change behavior. That's exactly what happened to me. I started asking questions. I started being curious. I started saying yes to opportunities that scared the shit out of me. I started getting invited into rooms that I've never imagined were possible. And years later, I found myself working alongside executives at some of the largest companies in the world. What I found completely shocked me. Okay. Because they were not the busiest ones in the room, which I've always expected. They protected something that was way more valuable than their time. They were protecting their ability to think. So if success isn't something that you're striving to do more of all of the time, productivity, right? The hell was I optimizing for all this time, right? We're optimizing, we're trying to fit more things in. Why? So let's explore this for a second. My first real executive meeting, I walked into the boardroom and I honestly expected chaos. I expected the busiest and the most successful leader in the room to just be chaotic. Emails, constant interruptions, overflowing inboxes, um, just chaotic energy in general. And to my surprise, the most successful executive in the room had the calmest calendar. I immediately thought, must be nice. I guess that's what you get for being successful, right? Like that's what you earn. But that wasn't the case at all. What I realized after is that their job wasn't to do the work. Their job was to make decisions on what's the most important work to be done. And that changed my career. I was measuring productivity on a completely wrong scorecard. Productivity did not mean more emails, more tasks, more boxes checked. It meant how do you make the best decisions? How do you make sure that you're creating value? And that wasn't in all the emails that you were answering. The higher you went in your career ladder, the less all of those things mattered. The emails, the constant pulling into meetings. By the way, all of that today is being replaced by AI. And so if that's what you're trying to do, you're in leaning in the wrong direction. And if you're trying to see how you can optimize efficient way of actually getting all of the tasks done, there's an AI summit that's happening that's being led by the Exceed Learning Center on August 6th, this Thursday on Long Island. So ask Olga if you're interested. But where your value leans in is judgment. How to make the right decisions? How do you see patterns that other people don't see? And most importantly, what to ignore. We think busy means productive, means successful, but are we just staying occupied? Right? What I realized is busy people optimize for completion, also being replaced by AI. Builders optimize for consequence. You don't need to be asking, what do I need to get done anymore? I urge you to ask, what decision changes everything? So when you look at your calendar in the morning, ask yourself, what is the decision that I need to make that will change everything? So we have a slide of busy people and builders. And if you look at that, busy people fill their calendars, they react, they chase efficiency. Builders protect time, they design their calendars and create leverage. Those are completely different lives. Which side do you feel like you're more leaning toward each week? I urge you to look at that and reflect on that on your calendars. The greatest threat to success isn't laziness, it's productive procrastination. Okay? We've all had one of these days. You're answering emails from 8 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock at night. You're back to back meetings. You have quick questions, quick conversations that you're getting pulled into all the time. You're driving home, you're exhausted, and you come home and your spouse asks, What did you even accomplish today? I've had those days. I've had years worth of those days. Anyone else familiar with that feeling? Yeah, we're not lazy. We're just busy. There's a huge difference. Productive procrastination is dangerous because it feels responsible. You love to feel needed. You want to help. You want to solve things. You want to move all day. Movement is not momentum. Everything that is urgent is not important. Everybody that wants your attention does not deserve it at the time. You can't, even though you can solve all of the problems, doesn't mean that you should. If you've built a life where everybody depends on your input, you've built a dependency. You've become a bottleneck. That is not scalable. That is not leadership. What you want to create is a life where you create space on your calendar for your life, not just all the meetings. You want to make sure that you're refusing things, you're saying no, that your calendar reflects like a mirror of what you're trying to build. Bottleneck we've covered. Also, being needed is not necessarily being valuable. The most valuable thing that you can do is build a system that can be utilized while you're not in the room. That's what is a great leader. We continue to confuse the two, and it is not the same thing. We again, we covered getting stuck in these 5-minute conversations, which I also want to say, can we just agree that those things don't exist? 5-minute conversations is not a thing. Those 5 minutes become 10, 20, 40, and then it's 4 p.m. And what you've been trying to start all day is still not done. Where I was working with the ex Amazon CTO as his head of operations, and what he used to talk about all the time is this framework that's up on the screen. Attention goes where decision flow where attention goes, and wherever whatever your decisions are, actually create the life that sits in front of you on your calendar. So, what is it that you're resulting from by bringing the attention to that calendar? When you're trying to reach a goal or create a result, don't look at your goals. Actually, look at where your attention is, and that will actually give you a clearer picture on where you're going to lead your life. Calendar is where attention has been allocated. Period. It's a absolute mirror. We don't become what we intend. Your calendar should not be what you're attending. It should become what we repeatedly schedule. What you repeatedly schedule on your calendar, what shows up on your calendar, is what becomes your life. And so when people say to me, family is a priority to me, health matters to me, I'm writing a book, I'm building a business, I'm learning a new skill, I'm changing my career, I believe you until I see your calendar. Because if it's not on your calendar, it's either going to become reality or it's going to become your excuse. If you're not making time to make those decisions, you're not going to have the life that you want. Put things on your calendar that deserve your life, because that's what that is. We spend endless amount of time on endless streams of things that are competing for our attention. We spend years climbing a ladder that's leaning against the wrong wall. And that's the productivity paradox. And so that little girl, no English, no roadmap, no network, no blueprint, just with somebody who showed a bigger opportunity. Once I saw it, I could not unsee it. And I hope I did the same thing for you guys today. Now that you know that your calendar is a mirror, a reflection of the life you're building, I hope you ask yourself a different question tomorrow morning. And it's not, what do I need to get done today? It's, what deserves my time. We have the same 24 hours. Choose differently. Own your calendar, own your attention, own your decisions. And in doing so, own your power. Thank you.